Worst of all, the septic system had also failed.
No, after that, I'd probably just jump off the ship. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, at least I know I didn't have to smell this shit. Literally. The poop cruise from hell.
When you think of everything that could go wrong on a cruise liner, I bet being asked to poop in a biohazard bag falls pretty low on that list.
Alright, how bad do the toilets have to function for this even to be a thing? Y'all couldn't find anything else, maybe like the actual sea? Maybe like clench your cheeks on the edge of the boat and then just let one go? Why are we using biohazard bags? Can you imagine the odor of the whole shit?
But for more than 3,000 passengers aboard the Carnival Triumph, that became a daily reality.
How much?
Feces-covered walls, food.
Okay, who is bending over in the walls and using the wall to clean their butthole, huh? Bro, y'all are making the workers' lives hell.
Fights, and a sprawling tent city on the decks earned the cruise its infamous name, the Poop Cruise from Hell. The Triumph, billed as the pride of the Carnival Group, is the length of 3 football fields, boasts 13 decks with 4 swimming pools, 7 whirlpools, and a massive casino floor.
I'm not trusting no cruise that is that big, bruh. I feel like the limit of people that should be on a cruise is about maybe like 100 people. You feel me? To really make it enjoyable for everyone.
On board Carnival's fun ship, expectations were high.
Yo, this is like bigger than a mall.
Sadly, this ill-fated trip would make memories for very different reasons. The Triumph set sail from Galveston, Texas for the Gulf of Mexico on Thursday, February 7th, 2013 for what was thought to be a 4-day cruise. Initially, it was all plain sailing, with late-night parties, onboard entertainment, great weather, and mouth-watering buffets.
That's mouth-watering? They are literally serving mayonnaise. What are we considering mouth-watering? This looks like something you would get off of Hometown Buffet or something.
For the guests. The highlight of the cruise was set to be a stop in Cozumel, Mexico. Here, passengers could disembark, frolic in azure waters, shop to their heart's delight, and return for a night of festive onboard activities.
You want to shop at a cruise? How big is this ship to be having literal stores in it? You want to shop at Louis Vuitton? Yeah, we have a section in this cruise. Little do they know people will probably use their bags to poop on.
In reality, after departing Cozumel for the return trip to Galveston, the cruise took a turn for the worse.
No pun intended. Yeah, you know this is terrible when people are literally yelling Call of Duty military commands. Like, what's going on? Alpatine? Who are we calling on?
In the early hours of Sunday, February 10th, a fire alarm echoed through the ship, with the Alpha Team call booming over the PA system shortly after 5:28 a.m. The Alpha Team announcement, the code used for a fire emergency aboard Carnival vessels.
Yo, fires happening in ships is perhaps one of the most ironic, crazy things that could happen. You're telling me we're in the middle of the ocean and the cruise is burning up. I don't even think we need firefighters. I might be dumb as hell, but let's just use the seawater. Let's just grab some seawater, right? Get some buckets and then just pour it on the fire.
Left many holiday makers panicked. Guests on the first and second decks opened their doors to find smoke-filled hallways. Chaos broke out, with passengers scrambling for life jackets and frantically searching for friends and loved ones. On the top deck, black smoke was billowing from the smokestack. The Alpha Team alert led to panic among passengers, with some heading to evacuation stations once they heard no further information.
Imagine 3,000 people panicking. That gotta be the most annoying thing to deal with.
Pause. Listen, I have a mentorship called the Moolah Membership where I'm going to teach you how to get rich with business, YouTube, crypto, stocks, financial literacy, credit, every single way. Now, I became a millionaire by the time I was 23 years old. I'm going to teach you step by step for only $50. Click the first link in the description right now and get added to my group chat where I'm going to give you one-on-one help to make sure you get rich in 2024. Click it right now. Stop tweaking because we got very limited spots and I don't want you to miss this bag.
Or instructions. While the announcements called for calm, guests were left in the dark about the extent of the fire.
Folks, there's no need to be at our muster stations. We do ask at this time that you do proceed back to your staterooms, back to your cabins. As I say, there is a situation in the engine control room.
The engine? If there's a situation that needs to happen, it gotta be anywhere else. I don't know, maybe the kitchen. The engine. I seen the way the Titanic panned out. Part 2 is not happening.
In the engine room, but it is under control. So we do ask that you please make your way back to your cabins at this time. There's no need to be waiting in the muster stations. Thank you.
Soon after the initial announcement, the ship's lights flickered before it lost all power except for the emergency lights. The blaze, which was contained
This is the engine? I'm sorry, but we know that there's gonna be thousands of people on this ship. And y'all let this ship sail looking like this. If you didn't tell me any better, I would have thought this was like a nuclear disaster that happened at like a faulty pipe. And then boom, well, this is the remains of it. This is what's running the ship?
in the engine room through an automatic fire suppression system was reportedly quelled by 6:08 a.m. Unfortunately, the fire had knocked out most of the ship's power and disabled the propulsion system, leaving the 3,143 passengers and close to 1,100 staff stranded in the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh no.
But there was a plan. 2 tugboats set course for the stricken vessel to tow it to the nearest port of Progreso, Mexico. Passengers breathed a sigh of relief and started taking off their life vests, docking
good.
by Tuesday, they were told. Little did they know, another 4 days would pass before anyone set foot on land again.
What's going on? Is the internet connection bad in Mexico? No one has any cellular connection? Yo, 4 days without the bathroom? 4 days without lights? Yo, they're not even sleeping in their own rooms anymore. They're literally sleeping outside.
By mid-morning on Sunday, passengers realized it wasn't just the propulsion system that died. The air conditioning, running water,
Oh no.
elevators,
Water? Oh hell no. We could do without the elevators, but water? What is this filthy ass water? Ew. Yo, imagine having to like walk down or do anything and you're literally looking at what looks to be like poop water.
and, worst of all, the septic system had also failed.
Can you imagine the smell of this cruise? Knowing that literally nobody has access to use the restroom. No, after that, I'd probably just jump off the ship. Full dive into it, you'll never see me again. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, at least I know I didn't have to smell this shit. Literally.
That's when the cruise director delivered a message that left passengers horrified.
We're going to deliver some red bags to your cabins, to the bathrooms if you can. If you need to do a number 2, you need to poop, please do it in the red bag and drop it off in the bins, in the corridors.
Really think about what they're asking them to do. We hate the fact that the bathrooms don't work, so we're gonna deliver you guys some bags. Please stop shitting in the hallway, all right? Can we all just be decent human beings and put it in the bag? That's still insane. That's absurd.
And if you need to do a number 1, that's a wee, please do it in the shower. Thank you, folks, and I'll be back with any more updated info.
This announcement came when toilets were already clogged due to lack of flushing facilities in the private cabins and public restrooms. The now infamous red poop bags were just too much to bear for many passengers.
People were using the restroom in little red plastic bags and throwing them out into the hallway.
We were in shock. We were like, I'm not using a red bag.
The thing is you just don't eat.
The Triumph stabilizers
I wonder how much people like actually put it in the bag and then just threw it out to the ocean.
also took a hit from the fire, causing the vessel to list heavily. Passengers reported clutching walls to keep their balance. But worst of all, toilets overflowed and spilled into halls, seeping through walls to floors each time the ship tilted with the wind. Before long, images emerged of sewage-sodden carpets, bins lined with red bags, and in some cases, erupting toilets. Depending on where...
Yo, imagine the one dude that actually had access to a clean bathroom, or like a bathroom that he thought worked, and then they just sat on it just for the toilet to just explode filled with feces and stuff, just going directly up his butthole. Oh no, bro. This is not the sweet life of Zack and Cody. I don't recall this being an episode on the Disney Channel show. This is literally just depressing.
the drains in the bathroom were, water and fecal matter came back up, pooling in there and overflowing into the cabins.
Oh no! Walking with socks on or any type of shoes and having fecal water just drain in there. Bro, everyone had to be smelling like ass.
With temperatures soaring and the foul stench of human waste permeating the cabin decks, many guests dragged their mattresses to outside decks to escape the odors and sweltering heat.
Wow.
The news outlets were quick to react, sending helicopters out to the crippled ship. Soon, images of what would become known as Tent City flooded news channels as passengers started using bed sheets, towels, and rope to construct makeshift accommodations on the tanning deck. In a bold attempt to quell the passengers' mounting frustrations, Carnival decided to host an open bar offering
an open bar. You know how terrible everyone is, right? Everyone is dealing with their own issues. The bathrooms are not working. People are not getting water, XYZ. And you want to open a bar? You want drunk people to get mad at you as well? It's already enough that people are walking on poop water. But now that they're going to walk on poop water drunk, you guys are just asking for trouble.
free beer and wine after the fire. The bar service was to run from afternoon until midnight, but turned out to be a terrible decision. With drinks flowing freely, several passengers became obnoxious and intoxicated, lobbing objects.
What did you think was gonna happen? They are stranded there and they are literally tired. Of course they're gonna wanna take the edge off, but of course some of them are gonna take the edge off a little too much.
Into the water and messing up the restrooms. By Tuesday morning,
You already know they probably clogged up the toilet. Some of them probably throwing up. GG's.
when both tugboats finally arrived, the vessel had drifted more than 90 miles north, meaning that Progresso was no longer the closest port. The decision was made to tow the 102,000-ton behemoth to Mobile, Alabama,
That's further than the actual location.
adding another 2 days to their journey. On the bright side, returning to the U.S. would ease re-entry for the 900 passengers traveling without passports. However, the added delay risked one passenger's life. Rachel Alderet, urgently requiring dialysis, became the first of only 2 people evacuated by the Coast Guard.
They got the Coast Guards and transferred me to another boat, another ship, sent me to Cozumel to do dialysis on Tuesday. It was hard. It was scary. It was, oh my God. You know, it was just scary the way they put me down. They put me in a stair rope, and the Coast Guard said that don't worry about it, that they would catch me and you know, they were going to hold me back, and they did. And then they transferred me to the bigger boat.
Amazing.
And, you know.
I'm also thinking about the janitors that have to work in this ship, because if there's about 3,000 people that are just chilling here, a lot of the staff had to be janitors. There's no way that I'm gonna even try to deal with any of the issues that are going on, bro. That gotta be the worst gig to ever have, and I hope they got compensated properly.
Following day, a second passenger was taken off the ship because of a pre-existing medical condition. Both were moved to other Carnival ships that had diverted their courses.
There were probably people mad as hell that certain people were being taken off the boat and they had to wait like 3 more days, bro. I'd kind of feel salty in a way, bro.
To assist with the rescue mission. Passengers commended the crew for doing everything they could to meet the travelers' needs, but that the toilet situation had been trying at best.
Now that is the problem with the boat, is that the toilets have not worked, and they ended up having to issue us these we call them the red bags, and that is what's been used almost exclusively for the first 2 days after the fire.
Conditions on board rapidly deteriorated during that time, and food was reportedly running out. Dwindling food supplies forced passengers to queue for hours for cold onion and cucumber sandwiches. One
Onion sandwiches? What happened to the amazing buffet meals that y'all were prepping?
passenger described scenes reminiscent of the Hunger Games as fights erupted over dwindling provisions.
And they would gripe at you, or other people would practically cuss you out because you would have multiples, but you're trying to get for your whole cabin. So,
yo, if you want to argue with me over onion sandwiches, you got it, bro. I'm not going to get into a fight and potentially get a black eye over some onion sandwiches. You know what? I'll just starve. Now, I did see some Cinnamon Toast Crunch boxes. I'm not going to lie. We might have to run the fade for that. That is something that I could actually go to war for. But onion sandwiches, you got it.
everybody wasn't standing in line.
3 other Carnival liners, Elation, Conquest, and Legend, performed impressive maneuvers to drop off provisions and supplies to the weary passengers. Transfers were hampered by winds as high as 35 knots and a sea swell of up to 6 feet. The tugboats, clearly lacking the muscle to pull a ship of Triumph's size adequately, only managed a leisurely pace of about 5 miles per hour.
You couldn't get multiple tugboats? Who thought it was a genius idea to get that small ass boat to a big cruise-size ship that's holding more than, 4,000 people?
Naturally, it didn't help that the tow line snapped several times during the process. Major news networks reported on Triumph's arduous journey to Mobile with around-the-clock coverage of the so-called floating petri dish. On Wednesday, February 13th, Tent City had to be dismantled to make way for an incoming chopper delivering much-needed supplies and equipment. By
That's good.
Thursday, the mood aboard seemed to get a little lighter after the food drop and the arrival of a generator that promised the luxury of hot meals. By this time, sanitary facilities were restored to parts of the ship, and passengers had access to power outlets to charge their cell phones.
Imagine if someone put like their fork in there, but you're telling me they're stuck here without the possibility of using their phone. Like they had to converse with each other. No power, not even your phone, no music. Oh, that had to be hell. And I'm also looking at this person's phone. Yo, is that an old ass iPhone charger? You probably caused this badass luck. There's no reason for you to have this ancient cellular device.
For many passengers, staying in contact with loved ones had been a battle.
We've spent the past 2 days about 4 to 5 hours a day charging our phone so we can at least have the opportunity to talk. The only time we get cell reception is if one of the other cruise ships comes close enough to us. So we've all been frantically charging, and we've actually rigged charging stations from ship computers to try to rig. I'm sure we're going to blow up the ship doing it.
In Mobile, worried family and friends gathered at the port, anxiously awaiting the first glimpses of the Triumph and their loved ones.
She said it was terrible. She said, Mama, when everybody get off this bus, everyone's probably going to have a little psychological help.
The Triumph was the
I'm also thinking about the people that use this for vacation, getting away from work, school. Like, damn, that was a much needed break. Went through that, probably going through worse than working or going to school. And now they're gonna have to go back to that environment. Did they even get a real vacation at all?
largest cruise ship ever to dock at Mobile, and its final leg into the port required more than 6 grueling hours of careful nighttime maneuvering as 4 tugboats ushered it up a 30-mile ship channel across the shallow bay. The passengers finally started disembarking at about 10 p.m. on Thursday. Carnival CEO Gary Cahill was among the many waiting at the port. He thanked the crew on board the vessel for their tireless efforts to keep the passengers comfortable and apologized to everyone for the situation.
He probably lost such a big ass back from this whole situation. And on top of all of that, your reputation. I'm not gonna book from a cruise that had people literally just duking all over the walls, bro. That is gonna give you a terrible representation. The Dookie cruise.
And I'd like to reiterate the apology I made earlier. I know the conditions on board were very poor. I know it was very difficult.
Terrible.
And I want to apologize again for subjecting our guests to that. We pride ourselves in providing our guests with a great vacation experience, and clearly we failed in this particular case.
But there was still more trouble in store for the passengers. In the Carnival ticket's small print, the cruise line added a protection clause. If the performance of the proposed voyage is hindered or prevented by breakdown of the vessel, Carnival may cancel the proposed voyage without liability to refund
I swear I will literally haunt you down throughout this entire earth. You better give me my money back. If anything, you gotta pay for my psychological evaluation and my personal therapist. There's no way you expect me to sleep outside smelling feces 24/7 for 5 days straight with barely any food, eating onion sandwiches, and you not gonna give me my money back.
passage money or fares paid in advance. Despite this, each passenger received $500, a free flight home, a full refund for their trip, and reimbursed most expenses on board, as well as a full credit for another cruise.
Oh, I wonder how much of them are going to use that one, though.
Didn't stop passengers from filing a slew of lawsuits within hours of reaching land. However, their chances of claiming compensation were slim to none unless they suffered a personal injury. Carnival ended up awarding $118,500 in damages to 27 passengers for doctors and hospital costs related to the ill-fated cruise. But the ship's woes continued. While it was moored for repairs in Mobile, the vessel broke free, drifting across the Mobile River and colliding with a tethered dredge. The responding towboat became pinned between the cruise ship and the dredge. Tragically, one person died and another was injured.
Yo, okay, that makes it even worse. First, your cruise is filled with poop, and now people are dying? Yeah, this had to literally be a nightmare, bro. Honestly, just shut down the cruise, bro. Just take the L on this. Make smaller boats from this. Don't do it again. Don't let this sell out, bro. This is a Titanic 2.0.
As for the fire's cause, Carnival asserted that a fuel leak in the engine room sparked the blaze. But many feel that negligence was the real cause of the blaze.
Bro, if you're gonna let any cruise ship this big set on sail, you gotta do insane like engine checks. You gotta have like 10 engineers on that shit making sure that it's safe to go.
In just 2 years, the group reported 9 incidents involving fuel leaks linked to flexible fuel lines. In January 2013, Carnival gave ships 2 months to install spray shields for all diesel engines using flexible lines. However, the Triumph failed to shield a hose that wound up causing the infamous poop cruise in February. It was found that the fuel hose that caused the fire was located underneath the deck plates, which they believed would be sufficient to provide a shield. Of course, it turned out not to be sufficient, as the engine room fire broke out as a direct result of the unshielded fuel line.
For your cruise to be even called poop cruise, like that's what they're calling it. They're not even calling it Carnival Triumph. That's kind of sad. That says a lot. I feel like your reputation is just cooked.
In addition to fixing the fire damage, Carnival added new technical features to prevent a sequel.
You have people saying SOS and help on your boat. Really let that sink in. No pun intended.
They spent $115 million on cleaning, repairing, and upgrading the ship before it resumed service 4 months later. In 2019, after another $200 million overhaul, the ship was renamed Sunrise.
Good, because you know from what you're called now, or what you used to be called, people were gonna hate you. All those articles about, you know, what your name was gonna just literally be changed to Poop Deck or Poop Cruise.
Continues to offer passengers everything you could ever need on a cruising holiday.
Even red bags.
Fingers crossed. Red biohazard bags and onboard activities like Survivor or Hunger Games.
You see, honestly, with the water already looking like this, y'all should have just took a dookie in here. Like, just go on to the edge and just squat your cheeks. Because that would have made this ship smell way better.
Are not on the list of fun activities offered.
Anyway, YouTube, let me know what the worst cruise ship you've ever been on. What's the worst experience you've ever had? Make sure you guys subscribe. We're so close to 800K. All that good stuff. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Boxer for life. Love y'all.
Put this bitch back like I'm double heaven. Hold up, triple deuces. Put this bitch up, we got all the juices. Hold up, speak to heaven. Eat that by my mama, demon minute. Everybody chill, at least I want by. My dad on the pussy like